Hey everyone, welcome back to another video here at Justin's Fish Room. Today's video is going to be about kind of the stuff that I do after my morning chores. So the morning chores include opening the shed, getting everyone's lights on first and foremost, wake everyone up, say good day. Then obviously I do my feeding routine, starting from the breeding tanks and going to the Pleco tank. And then I check the caves. And as you guys know from last time, the bristlenose breeding project kind of was successful, but also kind of was a bit of a flop. But taking those babies out was a really great success because we have one big spawn that we'll be taking out today and a new massive spawn, like the biggest spawn we've had so far, that was laid the night after the video was posted. So overall, very successful in the fish room at the moment. I'm thinking of just showing you guys each tank just because, you know, why not? And yeah, just go through everything, talk about maybe a plan or two for the future. As you guys know, I was talking about doing some oddball fish. I still really want to do that, but I guess my fish mates of mine, they're kind of encouraging me to keep on going with the rams. So, and I always was going to do rams, but not as much as I used to, but I'm still going to go quite hard with the rams. And yeah, so I'm actually going to do a video in the future of possibly getting some of those oddball fish for my little nano tank, but I've got to be careful what I put in the nano tank. Even though I keep it clean, I need to make sure that, you know, the fish will be happy. And yeah. But anyways, let's get on with today's video, and yeah, let's go have a look. Alright, so this is my kind of holding tank that I use when I'm selling rams, and these are the last few individuals that are yet to be sold. There is one pair that's already sold in here and 3 males that are also potentially sold, but the guy's going to get them in about 2 weeks, so we'll see how that goes. And then this tank will be empty. So as you guys know, we've got quite a few baby rams at the moment. It's a mix of all different types, and so I'll be selecting out the biggest ones from here, like that guy there, and put them in there to grow out even more so that I can get them to a sellable size and move them onto their new homes. So yeah, I'm planning to do some more planting in this tank. I've kind of just let it do its own thing, and the Kabumba's kind of a little bit worse for wear, but I'll just have to propagate it a bit and it'll be as good as new. But other than that, I've moved the lemon blue eyes from this tank into the Pleco breeding tank and just left the albino Cory cats in here to do their own thing. And I think there's 4 of them in here. So yeah, overall this tank is going to go through a bit of a makeover, but ultimately it's just a bit of a holding tank, so nothing too special here. Alrighty, so this tank here is a breeding tank. So as you can see, I've got 4 or 5 pairs of blue black and black celestial rams in here, and already got some really good breeding action. These guys were very, very impressive looking fish, so I decided to keep them and breed them. That guy's actually got a very black spot on his left side, obviously because of the black celestial genes coming out. But this tank's pretty cool, I actually really like it. It's got Indian almond leaves, which are grown here on my parents' property. I just nurture the tree and it grows nicely, and the fish just love interacting with that kind of, you know, the botanicals and the rocks and the plants. So that's the pair that I'm pretty sure going to breed in the next few days. They're very, very active at the moment, especially over that rock and this one. So yeah, so as you can see, I don't have too much air supply, but I've got enough to, you know, make the rams happy. There are, after all, you know, 10 to 12 fish in here probably. I think I've thrown in a few females just to encourage a bit of breeding, and so I want to make sure that, you know, they're not breathing heavily and getting illnesses and things like that. So this tank gets a water change every single day of 25%. I do like to keep the tannins in there, so yeah. And I've got a vertical piece of timber there that I've soaked myself and overall, this is probably, by my standards, like the perfect ram breeding tank. You know, a few plants, nice places to hide for the females if they need some live plants and botanicals. So yeah. Alrighty, so this is my other ram breeding tank, and this tank has a combination of blue-black F6 pairs and the electric blue pair that are looking pretty interested in breeding. Got a nice big ball of subvarsitang there. Again, plants are looking okay, but this is honestly like probably a very, very good breeding setup for rams as well. Got a lot of pots in here, terracotta pots with black pebbles in the middle. And yeah, so they've got some katapa leaves or Indian almond leaves in there, and you know, they couldn't be happier. So if you guys are wondering what a good breeding tank looks like, this one and the other one I just showed you are pretty much perfect. And you can see how like these rams are coming out quite a lot. If I just left one pair in here, I probably wouldn't see them a lot. So more emphasis on the fact that you should probably keep more than one pair in a tank, just to act as a little bit of you know, ditherfish, that sort of thing. Keep them active, keep them breeding. So yeah. Alrighty, so this is my Peppermint bristlenose breeding tank, and you can see there is one of the babies that's already quite large, probably about 4 or 5 centimeters long. So they do really, really well in this tank. That's the male. He's quite large, and the female's kind of tucked away at the back there, and she comes out when she's ready to breed. Oh, there we go. I've just got some nice, you know, rocks in here, and some katapa leaves and some plants at the back. That isn't very extensive, but you know, everything in here has a purpose. The Peppermint bristlenose do really well, and yeah, so very, very cool tank, I think. I'm planning to get some live berries for this tank, something a little bit different though. If I can find some flagfish, or I mean even chili endlers or something like that, you know, something a little bit different to come in here and breed a little bit and just make everything a little bit more interesting. So as you can see, there's quite a lot of aeration in this tank, and you probably can't see, but the flow is quite strong as well. I like to do that for all my plecos because they particularly like very oxygenated water with a little bit of flow. But yeah, very cool tank and very easy to replicate. There's nothing special about this tank at all. There's nothing special about any of my tanks actually. Very, very simple, but I guess in my opinion that's the best thing to have a lot of breeding success, is just to keep everything simple and, you know, be logical about what you do. And yeah, so again, this is my current ram stock that I'm growing at the moment. It's not as much as it was, but to be honest, I've really needed a break from breeding rams. The great thing is that the demand here in Australia is extremely high for my line of rams, but with uni and everything that was going on, it was quite demanding on my, just my time, and it was getting a little bit too much. So I've kind of dialed down a little bit. I've only started taking out every second or third spawn that I see, and been getting really good results. There's some really stunning males in here and females as well, but that male there I'm definitely going to be using for breeding. And yeah, so that's a little bit of an update. This tank just has 2 sponge filters. It's a 4 foot by 1 foot by 1.5 foot, and it's got some cucumber plants in there. Obviously this tank gets 50% water changes every second day, you know, to allow the fry to grow nice and fast, and it's also got some timber in there that allows them to, you know, peck on. I don't know if you can see at the back there, but they love picking on the wood. It captures a little bit of organic material from their food, and they just love it. I'll just get it to focus. But yeah, these guys are Really cool. I love them so much. I'll show you what they do when I put my hand at the top. They just like little piranhas. They're really cool. And every time I do sell these guys, I'd really try and make sure that they have a good home, because they are such intelligent fish, and rams definitely deserve to have a really clean and well-maintained setup. Just like discus fish, I would say rams are probably on par with discus fish in terms of husbandry and maintenance and feeding, probably, yeah. But yeah. Okay, so this is my bristlenose Pleco grout tank, and this tank has some aqua soil in it. It's got some driftwood, catapa leaves, and I have just put all of the Pleco, let's see if it'll focus, Pleco bristlenose babies in here, because their yolk sacs are getting quite small now. They're kind of all dispersed in this tank. And yeah, so they'll go from here into that tank, which has no light at the moment, which is okay, but you can kind of see that there's bigger albino plecos in there, bristlenose plecos. And this is a very simple setup, one sponge filter with high aeration mode, and they get fed algae wafers, and they also get some of my discus food to help them grow really quick, because that's very high protein. If you guys haven't seen how I make my discus, or how I make my wet food for the discus and rams, go check that video out. It's a very good recipe, very simple, anyone can make it, and yeah. So you can see there's some of the calicos, and they're definitely calicos. You can start to see their pattern, and I'm very excited to see what this other spawn has in store for us today. So this is my community fish tank, and as you can see, it's got a very simple hardscape setup, very simple plants that are easy to keep, and it's just got rams and plecos and some cories in it. It's probably my favorite tank in the whole fish room, just because of how calming it is. This is my ideal fish tank. It's got a heap of rams in it, which is like my dream tank, and every single one of these rams that you can see in this tank, I've actually hand raised them from when they were eggs. So it's got a lot of sentimental value. All these fish in here, they were hand picked by me for breeding as well. And this tank also has my Alto 1s in, which unfortunately don't come out very often, but that's their cave. I've shown you guys before. I have, just because I've done a 50% water change on this today, and I did one yesterday because it's been storming, I will be having a look to see if I've got any eggs from the Alto 1s, but yeah, I'm going to keep on doing that as long as it's raining and storming, because as you guys know, to stimulate spawning in plecos, it's a great idea to wait for a storm and do some pretty heavy water changes, cold water changes I should say, to make sure that they get stimulated. So there you can see one of my really good breeding males. He's actually my F1 male, and my male, actually, I thought he passed away, but he just hides a lot, my original male, and he's 4 years old. Well, he's gone over 4 years old now, and it's just crazy how long these rams live for, and he's just massive as well, just like his babies will get, and some of his babies are. But I've also got some blue-black ram groats in here. This is a really nice looking male, very nice fins on this guy, very dark colouring, and I love his dorsal fin as well. Very active fish, a little bit aggressive, but he's just trying to find a mate. Yeah, so overall, happy with these guys. There's my pair of bronze cories. They're very, very cool. I don't have a female in here, so They try and breed with each other occasionally when I do a water change. But otherwise, this is my 4-foot community aquarium. So I kind of forgot to mention that I keep ottocinkless catfish in here. They are one of my favorite cleaning fish. I started with 3 about a year ago. Let's see if this will focus. There's the other one. I had one female who was breeding in here quite regularly. They lay quite bright yellow eggs on the Velasneri spiralis plants, but now I've been reduced down to 2 over time. I think one just got really old and passed away, but the other 2 are doing really great. I think, let me see if I can get some footage of the ultra ones. Oh, there, you can see one of my juveniles that's older. Let's see if I can go around. No, not happening today, but at least you got to see the tail end of one of my juveniles that I'm keeping for breeding, future breeding stock. There's about 20 babies in here, probably more, that I've kept just to make sure that I've got some good breeding stock. But we'll move on to the next tank now. Okay, so this is my tank in progress at the moment. It's become a little bit of a retired tank. It's got some really bad quality cherry shrimp and some really good quality cherry shrimp in here. I just haven't had time to cull any of the shrimp. But I do need to get in here and get a heap of these snails out. The Malaysian trumpet snails are quite relentless and very, very prolific. They just consume a lot of food, and when there's a lot of food around, they just explode in numbers exponentially. You can see there's a good quality shrimp just under the leaf there. Don't know if it'll focus. You guys can kind of see it. But I am going to get some killifish, I believe, for this tank. I think if I plant it out nicely and do daily water changes, make sure that the water parameters are really good, I think a group of clown killies in here will do really well. But that's definitely a project for the future, and I will definitely be keeping you guys updated about what I do put in here eventually. But yeah, it's a very cool tank. Do need to do some more landscape aquascaping in here, but besides that, love it. Alrighty, so this is the soap opera tank, aka the Bristlenose breeding tank. It is just full of drama. There is divorce, there is love affairs going on in this tank. You can see this female just gorging herself after she's just laid eggs on some zucchini. But that tank over there, that cave over there has all the new babies in it. So let me get a torch and we'll see if I can show you guys. So I don't know if you can see all those tiny little wriggler things on the top. Oh, let's see if I can get this. This is very difficult, guys, so I'm very sorry, but okay, so this is as good as I'm gonna get. The male's quite protective of this tank, which is great to see, but if you look in the top left corner, you can see tiny little tails wriggling, and this is a quite large spawn. So today I'm definitely going to be taking these out just before anything happens to them, and I'll be putting them in here just so that they can grow out a bit like I did with the other ones, and I'll put them in the tank with all the little baby plecos in it. You can see my 2 super red bristlenose there, and I have a couple lemon blue-eyed juveniles, like semi-adults kind of in here. That one's definitely a male because he's starting to already develop some nice bristles, but 2 or 3 of them are definitely females because they are trying to barge their way into here, and they're just like really keen on breeding. So this guy was the good dad. He had a nice spawn in there, but he ate that spawn, I'm pretty sure, because they just disappeared. Then this guy, who wasn't the greatest dad, he has a massive spawn in there. This is very difficult, guys. I'm very sorry. I wish I could really get some good footage of them, but I will show you the babies from this cave. But this guy has a massive spawn in there, and I'm really looking forward to taking those out because they were from this female, I believe, this female albino. So we should get very similar results that we had with the other spawn, where 90% of the babies are calico and 10% will be albino. There's one of my lemon blue eye plecos. I don't know. For some reason it's not focusing very well, but anyways, that's him or her. I think it's a her. And yeah. So I hope you enjoyed the little tour of the little fish room that we have here. I will show you guys some of the fish inside where my mom's tank is, and I'll show you the progress that we have with the L397 fry, which is really exciting. But yeah, we'll start with this for now. So I've got a very similar setup, except I've learned from last time to use a bigger container. So I'm going to use a big container. I'm going to use a jug. Oh. It's one of these jugs to pour water in from the tank. And then one of my viewers actually in my last video gave me a really great tip, so thank you, you know who you are, to twist the cave when you're pouring out the water, because it helps get the babies out a lot easier. So thank you so much for that tip. I really appreciate that, and I love how you gave me that tip. If you guys have any tips in anything that I do, I want to hear them, you know, because it just makes my life a whole lot easier. And yeah, but I'm going to go ahead, take out that cave and show you guys the process again. So I just realized there's a baby on the outside of the cave anyway, so I think it's a really great thing that I'm taking these guys out. I'll quickly dry my hand and show you guys the little baby. So there you can see the little baby hanging on. I'm going to make sure that I grab him before he disappears. But can you guys comment down below, like, just my experiences with even my albino colony, but now also these calicos. Bristolos tend to be not very good parents. Is that the case with everyone's colonies? You know, does it take a lot of time before they actually get good at raising their spawns? Let me know. I'm actually really genuinely curious. Alright, so I've got my trusty large pipette here. I'm just going to go ahead and suck him up. Cool. There he is. Oh. Okay, so I have the cave and I have my jug of water. So I'm just going to put that there, and hopefully there's some babies in there. And do the twisting motion, which is working wonders. Thank you so much for that tip, by the way. It's quite a large spawn, which I'm very happy about. I'll just do the whole jug of water and just make sure that I get most of them out. Okay, I'm pretty sure that's all of them, so I'm going to put them back now. Okay, so as you can see, this spawn was quite big. Very happy with it. And again, very keen to see the colors. I love the genetic aspect of breeding any type of fish, especially ones that have different color morphs. And yeah, so this is a very good spawn. So the focus. Yeah, it's not focusing today for some reason, but yeah, so there's our spawn. And he did have more in his spawn. I'll just quickly show you that as well. Oh. Let's have a look. He has got eggs in there. So there's a lot of shells, but there are some babies still in there. And I just thought I'd let him hatch them out, and then I'll grab them out when they're ready. Okay, so as you can see, babies are all in the fry box, all looking really good, healthy. Some more still in there, but that's something we'll do later, probably later tonight or tomorrow morning. You can see a lot of them are, they have dark black eyes, and then some of them have what seems like no eyes, which obviously the albinos. But yeah, so it's pretty successful. Very happy with them. Alrighty, so now that we've done kind of everything in this room until tonight, which is when I'll be feeding, I'm going to take you guys into the Discus fish room, which is the office, and we're going to have a look at the Discus. We're going to have a look, hopefully, at the L397 adults who are already on another spawn, which is great. And we're going to have a look at the baby L397s and just kind of all the little fish in that tank. I gifted my mom 2 pairs of my German blue rams that were honestly the most beautiful, and to like breeding standard were absolutely immaculate breeders. So I gifted them to her for Mother's Day gift, and they are doing so well. They are just massive fish, and the colors are just to die for. So I'll definitely be showing you guys those if they're out and about. My mom's tank's also going to be going through a bit of a revamp soon, so that's also very exciting. We're going to get her a new plant light so that she can get some more plants, and yeah, it'll look really good. So let's go head over there now and I'll show you what's going on. Look at how cute it is. These are my mum's favorite fish in her tank, the bumblebee gobies, and they are just so cool. They've actually bred in this log in the bottom here. There's little caves down there that I'll show you in a sec, and they've just done so well. My mum does salt treats occasionally, and when she does, they just go absolutely hyper. It's so cute. But I highly recommend bumblebee gobies for any aquarium, especially brackish aquariums. They're kind of like pea puffers. They kind of got the same sort of antics about them. Very intelligent fish, very colourful. So yeah. Alrighty, so this is one of the males that this is the pair, now that the female's on the screen, that I gifted my mom, and you can just see how just stunning this pair is. I mean, like, their offspring are definitely going to be valuable for the breeding program here. Just look at that female, she's just perfect. And then this is the dominant male, and his shape, his colors and everything are just keep on saying it, but just immaculate. And his female is getting ready to lay as well, so hopefully we'll get some eggs off them soon. So we've got the German blue rams, the 2 pairs. We've got our blue sapphire angel, and he thinks he's a bit of a discus fish. He has tried to spawn with one of my discus fish, which is quite funny, on the inlet pipe over there. And he's just really cool. My mum loves him because he was a bit of a... I guess his pectoral fins weren't very straight growing up, and his dorsal fin wasn't either, but he's actually turned out to be an amazing fish. And you can see the red covered discus at the back. Let's see if I can get them to say hey. No. They're very, very skittish fish. When they see a camera. When they see my mom, on the other hand, they just come out and greet her, so they definitely know who looks after them. But they're all getting ready to breed soon as well. They're getting to that size, starting to get quite territorial. And yeah, they're just really beautiful fish. So let me just get a nice shot of the whole tank. So my mum's got like a very heavy piece of aesthetic driftwood in here with beautiful holes. This whole half, the left half of the driftwood, is just a labyrinth of caves and tunnels, and that's why the plecos, the L397 plecos, do so well in here. She definitely needs a new light. It's not very great for plants. You can see her cucumber is growing in a way where the stems are very thin, and in between the foliage is quite a fair distance. So we need to get her a new light just so her plants are happy and so she can start planting out this tank with the beautiful plants that she wants. And yeah, so those bumblebee gobies are just very, very cute. And then let's see if this will focus. So we have 33 of these guys so far. Yep, it's gonna focus, I think. 33 of these guys so far in this container, and there's still about 5 to 10 hiding in the driftwood. So it's a massive spawn, but the male and female have been in the little area where they've laid the eggs the previous time for quite some time. So I think they're breeding again, which will be really cool. These guys are very, very cute. I just feed them, I'll grab it, hold on. So they get some of these algae wafers. They get 2 of these a day. They finish them by the next morning. They get a piece of driftwood, which is what that is, and some very old soaked catapa leaves, which have a film on them that's very beneficial for their gut, and they're growing really quickly. So I think, you know, I've heard of people asking a lot of questions about what to feed Pleco fry, like L397 Pleco fry, when they hatch, when they eat up all the yolk, and that's what I feed, and it seems to be keeping their bellies nice and full. I wish I could show you just how many are in here, but I guess you can just admire this little guy here for now. And what I love about these guys is they're all different. Like, they've all got completely different patterns. Like, we have different fingerprints, and I just love it. And there's Mr. Bumblebee Goby again. So these guys are in this aquarium, which is set to 28 degrees Celsius. There's 3 of them in here. We initially had 4, but one of them just got a weird swim bladder problem one day and passed away within the first week of getting it. Whereas these guys have just been so good. We had a seed shrimp issue, which is why we actually got these guys. And within probably about a month, they were gone. And yeah, so very, very cool. And I'm a very big advocate for whoever asks me, is it a good idea to get bumblebee gobies? I always jump and say yes, because they're just so cool. Kind of remind me of, like those, do they call them groupers on the reef? Those big, big fish with big mouths. Very, very similar to these guys, only these guys are tiny. But yeah, very, very cool. But that's about it for this tank. We are going to try to get these Discus to come out a bit more. We've tried various things. They're very healthy and very content with staying in the back corner there where the Discus breeding cone is. And yeah, it's pretty cool. Got the big Amazon sword at the back there, some Balisneria spiralis, lots of oxygen for this tank for the plecos and the discus. The flow we've actually directed downwards now, because discus don't like a lot of flow, but we've put it strategically in a place where the plecos like to stay, so there's a bit of give and take there for this aquarium, but overall it does really well. And that's all there is to report. Alright everyone, so that's all we had time for in this video, but I just wanted to say a huge thank you to all my subscribers for being part of this community for so long, or even if you've just joined, just a huge thank you to you guys. I hope you guys have all had a really great start to your new year. Hope there's a lot of awesome fish projects coming your way in the future, and yeah, just have a great one, and I'll see you in the next one, guys.